Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Greenwald have apparently signed a deal with a social media platform known as Rumble. Now, there are many of these platforms popping up all over the place, but Rumble is a platform that's been around since 2013. It didn't really grow in popularity until places like YouTube, for instance, started doing away with content that spread disinformation on things like the coronavirus pandemic. And so people who wanted to publish disinformation decided to flow into alternative social media platforms like Rumble. And now it's growing. Their user base has grown quite a bit. And now we're hearing about what they're doing to bolster their credibility. So the Toronto-based upstart Rumble said that it has struck deals with former US Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, the journalist firebrand Glenn Greenwald, and others who had committed to posting their videos first to the site. Now, the company declined to provide any of the financial details, but Glenn Greenwald said the top creator's year-long contract will pay in the mid-range 6 figures. It's quite a bit of money. So they're offering these massive deals, and the whole point is, look, you provide us well-produced, high-quality content, you get this money, we're all good. But what sets Rumble apart from other social media platforms? Well, Rumble has emerged over the last year as one of the most prominent video sites for right-wing viewers and provocateurs, and it is seeking to bolster its image as a new online home for those who claim they've been censored by big tech. Because when you have over 1 million followers on Twitter, and when you have a giant following in general, and you get to run your mouth literally all day, every day, you are in fact being censored. It's just the fact of the matter. Like Glenn Greenwald is definitely censored on Twitter. So he's got to go to Rumble. He has no choice but to accept that deal in the mid 6 figures in order to publish his content there. I'm sure that it's all about being a principled anti-censorship journalist. But I don't know, maybe you have a different perspective, Lance. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if anyone from Rumble is watching, just know that for a price, I will reverse everything I'm about to say on TYT. So just email me. I'm sure the detail will pop up at some point. On the side note, I've actually spoken to some of the people who are like designing and coding a lot of these alt sites. Like there's another one called Odyssey, and then there's one called Roikfin as well. And there's a lot of these kind of like alternative streaming sites, which I have nothing against. I think it's unusual that the left is really scared to adopt them. And when I've spoken to the people who code these sites, they've always said they get very rapid adoption from the right. And I'm assuming a lot of that has to do with the fact that, under current discourse, what is considered polite to do in the Overton window, like you can't really be outwardly transphobic on Twitter anymore. You can't be outwardly transphobic on YouTube anymore. So if you wanted to espouse those kind of ideas, you'd have to find something alternative. So that's maybe why some of them pivot. But there's also
that is why.
That's
100% why.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But I think there might also be that idea that there's a lot of people on the left who are also afraid of entering those ecosystems in the first place because they're already filled with all these ghouls. Like, why would I go there? It's already loaded. Like anytime like I upload to like Odyssey, for example, I don't read the comments because it's all just about what a soy. I don't know what I can say during daytime right now. I'll just leave it at soy. So I'm just a soy. I'm just literally a piece of soy, and it'll just say that, and it'll pile up. So that might be another reason why the early adoption has been a problem. What I would be curious to know when it comes to Rumble, and they're reaching out to try and diversify, because I just looked at their catalog. It is overwhelmingly like Donald Trump Jr., all the way over to like Mike Cernovich, so very prominent right-wing figures. Are they trying to reach out to what they consider to be more centrist voices to balance that out?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't see any big names on the left as part of this deal or as part of this effort to bolster its online presence. And what set Rumble apart from some of the more traditional or long-standing social media platforms is the fact that they will not censor disinformation pertaining to things like coronavirus. And in fact, that's what Glenn Greenwald himself cited in his reasoning for wanting to join in this deal. So the site does ban racism and hate speech, but has contrasted itself with the Google-owned YouTube by refusing to remove medical misinformation, including those casting doubt on vaccines during a pandemic that is surging in many states and has killed more than 4 million people around the world. Now, Gabbard and Greenwald have expanded, as I mentioned earlier, their fan bases in recent months by criticizing what they call overly aggressive media censorship in appearances on Fox News and Twitter, where each has more than 1 million followers. So let's stop for a second, because I think that this is, in my opinion, the new wave of Dave Rubinites, okay? People who have made a name for themselves, gallivanting around town as these free speech warriors. When you look at their own practices, and it really makes you question how genuine they are when it comes to censorship and how they want to fight back against it. Because I have personal experiences with former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who was scheduled to do an interview with both me and Cenk Uygur. That was the deal. We were both going to do a sit-down interview with her when she was running for president in the Democratic primary in 2020. I had done a mild critique video of Tulsi Gabbard after that agreement was made, and she reached out to TYT and said, Anna's not allowed to interview me. I'm not doing the interview unless Anna does it. Oh, that's fascinating. That's really fascinating, Tulsi. I thought you really cared about free speech, about open dialogue. It seems like you're not really practicing what you preach here. And when you look at who actually financed or funded Rumble, it also makes you question what the real intentions are here. Let's go to the last graphic. The company said in May it had received a significant investment from Narya Capital, a fund co-founded by hillbilly elegy author JD Vance, and the billionaire, this is the important part, venture capitalist Peter Thiel, an early investor in Facebook and a co-founder of the government contracting giant Planeteer Technologies. If I remember correctly, Peter Thiel was the one who helped fund Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker, which then led to Gawker being completely and utterly wiped off the face of the planet. And that seemed like, and by the way, because Peter Thiel didn't like the kind of coverage that Gawker was doing. So he saw an opportunity by helping Hulk Hogan out to essentially destroy Gawker so it would cease to exist. So I think that it's worth doing a little bit of digging when it comes to the claims about what motivates these people to join these social media platforms, because I'm seeing the same trend happen over and over again. And yes, do I seem a little salty? I do, because Glenn Greenwald in particular is someone who I had a tremendous amount of admiration for. Glenn Greenwald was the journalist that I held up on a pedestal in every single one of my journalism classes, someone who I felt was a model for real journalism. And now he has devolved into, I don't know what he is. I mean, a Twitter bully schoolgirl who's constantly whining and crying about Taylor Lorenz and Emma Vigeland. Like, what is wrong with you? So, I mean, that's why I'm salty about it, because I've seen a complete 180 in his quality of work. I've seen a complete 180 in his political views and his commentary. And this nonsense about like, no, I'm doing it because I'm a warrior for free dialogue and open speech and all, I'm not buying it at all, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to add any more salt to your day, but you were talking about Dave Rubin. I think he's had Tulsi Gabbard on twice, 2 times. So sorry about that. Your ideas weren't high enough. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat as you. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Glenn Greenwald's earlier work, especially his work on South Central and South America in relation to the elections in Brazil with Lula da Silva. I was just someone who was utterly baffled with the turn that has happened recently. I'm not entirely sure what exactly is going on with him and Tucker Carlson and this idea that we can now normalize or even try and sanitize Tucker Carlson's image, going as far as calling him a socialist. I have absolutely no idea what's going on there. Meanwhile, he's off doing the Viktor Orban press tour. So all this being said, when it relates to Rumble, Is there going to be more people outside of Glenn Greenwald and Tulsi Gabbard? Because those are kind of the go-tos. Like those are figures that I would think of when Joe Rogan's like, I've got leftists coming on. Oh no, like it's not just IDW people on this week. Don't worry, we've also got Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Greenwald. Maybe Jimmy Dore. We'll have 3 leftists on. So if that's the only route that Rumble's going down, then yes, I might say it's slanted. If they're going to reach out to other, I don't know, progressive creators for whatever price, well then maybe that's something else to be discussed.
Well, I mean, look, it really depends on, I don't know. I mean, I gotta be honest, if Rumble reached out to me, I'd be like, no, I'm not interested, I'm sorry. I'm not taking 6 figures, whether it's in the mid-range, the non-mid-range, I'm not interested. Like, I think that, it's funny because TYT has had 1 round of investing, 1 round. And I have not had a single conversation with anyone who's involved in that. I mean, I critique capitalism and talk about socialism on this show. My views throughout the 14.5 years I've worked at TYT have not changed. No one can tell me what I can and can't say, including Cenk Uygur. And that's why I work here, because I love the freedom, I love that I have agency. But I have seen a 180 in the political commentary coming from the likes of Glenn Greenwald. And so it depends, is the way that the company is run or the way that it's funded, is it really having an impact on your political views or the way you conduct business, your work, all of that? And I feel like the proof is in the pudding. I mean, how are you gonna say that you're joining on this venture because you believe in free speech, but one of the main investors and funders for this company is a man who destroyed a media outlet because he didn't like it? It's fascinating stuff, it really is.